Speakers, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maurice Atoki. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the African Business Coalition for Health, also known as ABC Health. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the Sustainability Professionals Institute of Nigeria, and I head the legal directorate. I also double as the company secretary, call it the board secretary of the very esteemed Institute of SPIN. I would like to welcome all of you to today's seminar with the theme, ISSB Adoption in Nigeria, What Needs to be Done and Who Does What. And I will be co-hosting with a very esteemed personality and a colleague in the house, Dr. Akinkunle Akiode, who is an executive council member at SPIN. Please make some applause for him, virtual applause. I'm very delighted that he's joining us on behalf of the Learning and Development Directorate of the Sustainability Professionals Institute of Nigeria. By the way, Dr. Akiode also represents the Finance Department in the Executive Council at a session with you.
It's a pleasure to co-host with you, Maurice. A very good morning to our esteemed participants.
Okay. Our participants and speakers, once again, we thank you to the speakers for humbly accepting to be to lead us and to direct us in today's session, and to our participants, we thank you for joining us. I hope you can all hear me. Perfect. Okay, you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me in the chat box. Can I be heard? Okay, I see some thumbs up. Perfect. Now, before we proceed into the webinar proper, we just have a few housekeeping rules to share so that we're all on the same page and we agree to how we must proceed in this session of today. Please place your audio icons or microphones on mute throughout the session unless you're invited to speak or you ask a question directly. Also, you may share your comments and questions by making use of the comment button on the bottom right corner of your screen, and we will address them in the course of the session. Now we're going to go to the opening remarks, but before then, it gives me really great pleasure to let you know who is going to be opening this webinar for us today. And so please allow me to introduce no other person but Madam Eunice Sampson, who is also a member of the Board of Trustees of the Institute of Sustainability Professionals of Nigeria and a Director of Learning and Development at SPIN. She is a partner, Climate Change and Sustainability at Ernst & Young, also known as EY Nigeria. But before we hear the opening remarks, and Eunice, please pardon me, let me also whetten everybody's appetite with the very carefully selected speakers that we have today. In no particular order, I'm going to just mention them and then we'll get into their profiles as we ask them their individual questions. We have with us today Dr. Ndidi Nnoli-Edozien, of course, one of the very veterans of sustainability, now championing ISSB. She's the Africa's representative at the International Sustainability Standards Board, ISSB. Dr. Ndidi, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have also with us Dr. Rabiu Olowu, who is the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. Dr. Rabiu, we're very delighted to have you. I have, of course, a very dear friend of the house, Dr. Bekeme Masade-Olowola. She's the Director, Membership and Strategy, Sustainability Professionals Institute of Nigeria, and the Chief Executive Officer of the popularly known CSR in Action. We also have with us Dr. Haruna Yahaya, the President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and Dr. Abubakar Razak, the Head of Sustainability Reporting Regulation, Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. Again, we are very honored to have all of you, all of this very esteemed line of speakers with us today. Again, we must hear Dr. Sampson as she gives us our opening remarks. So Eunice, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Morris. Good morning, esteemed resource persons at this very special webinar. Thank you for joining us. And also, good morning, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, our very valued participants at today's webinar. It is my pleasure to welcome you to today's session with the theme, ISSB adoption in Nigeria, what needs to be done and who does what. Collective global efforts towards achieving sustainable development has created the need for organizations of all sizes to be more transparent about what they are doing to manage environmental, social, and governance-related risks and opportunities, and leverage the huge opportunities that ESG also presents. As a result, there is a growing mainstreaming of sustainability reporting as a standing practice in several organizations around the world, and even here in Nigeria. Specifically, ESG reporting provides greater clarity to the opportunities and risks for investors, and also beyond investors, employees, and other key stakeholders as well, as it shows the organization's commitment to climate action, social stewardship, and good corporate governance practices. As many of us here would know, in 2023, Nigeria elected to early adopt the sustainability disclosure standards developed by IFRS's International Sustainability Standards Board, ISSB, following which the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Adoption Readiness Working Group, published a detailed roadmap guiding entities on how the new standards will be adopted and implemented across the country's corporate and institutional landscape. Today, the Sustainability Professionals Institute of Nigeria brings to you the second series of learnings, knowledge sharing, and capacity building around the country's adoption of the new standard. This webinar brings together seasoned institutional leaders and regulators to discuss the way forward, to evaluate how far the country has come in its adoption journey, what do we need to do collectively, and who should do what. The objective of this learning session is to ensure an alignment across all report preparers, regulators, and the key professional institutes that will drive Nigeria's adoption of the ISSB. We encourage you, dear participants, to leverage this golden opportunity to hear and learn directly from the horse's mouth, as they say, and take advantage of the quality of the resource persons with you today to ask all the questions and get all the clarifications you've always wanted to get around the new standard. On this note, I want to thank you once again for being here, and please, I enjoin you all to keep this very engaging and interactive. Thank you so much for joining us today. Back to you, Dr. Morris.
Of course, Dr. Eunice Sampson, we thank you immensely for those very warm and insightful opening remarks and for officially opening this webinar today. Of course, we didn't expect less. Your words have set the tone for what promises to be an engaging and impactful session. With that, we now move to the next phase of today's program and what will be a good message from our very esteemed International Sustainability Standard Board to be delivered by Dr. Ndidi Nnoli-Edozien, the ISSB board member representing Africa. Dr. Ndidi Nnoli-Edozien, the floor is yours, ma'am. Do we have Dr. Ndidi in the house, please, so that I can also read her profile? I need her to indicate that she's with us. No? Okay, so we're going to have to move to the next person. Do we have Dr. Rabiu Olowu in the house? What about Dr. Haruna Yahaya? Do we have Dr. Bekeme Masade-Olowola in the house? I'm sorry, who is okay? I see Dr. Ndidi. Dr. Ndidi, good morning from Nigeria. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I'll need you to respond so that I can know to go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I just mentioned your name. I'm yet to read out your profile so that the audience and participants can appreciate, of course, you being here more today. Dr. Ndidi Nnoli-Edozien represents Africa on the IFRS Foundation's International Sustainability Standards Board, contributing to global sustainability and climate disclosure standards. With over 30 years of experience, and if I must say, she's one of my mentors. She mentored me. I was a small rat when I met her in the industry. So again, Dr. Ndidi, as I read your profile, is also to extend an appreciation for having gone through leadership from people like you. She has 30 years of experience across public, private, and not-for-profit sectors. She's a leading voice in sustainable finance in Africa. She's the founder of Growing Business Foundation and former Group Chief Sustainability and Governance Officer at Dangote Industries Limited, where she led sustainability integration across 14 African countries. And I remember working with you on that as a consultant in PwC. And she has taught at Lagos Business School and Dartmouth University and holds degrees from London School of Economics, Wharton, and Garth University. Dr. Ndidi, I will now invite you to the scene on the global ISSB adoption baseline by speaking on the following areas. I hope there are applause coming in for Dr. Ndidi. It wasn't easy for us to get her here, and I'm sure you've already perhaps also interacted with her socially if you've not met her as a person. So please let's give an applause before we start taking the questions. But Dr. Ndidi, again, it's important for us to ask today to set the scene on the global ISSB adoption baseline by speaking to some very focal areas. The first one is about the standards themselves. What exactly are the ISSB standards? What is the global adoption momentum like? And what are the implications and cost of delay for emerging economies? Dr. Ndidi, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And Morris, thank you for the commitment and the passion that you've always shown in everything that you've always done. You talk about the work that we did together at Dangote, and maybe that's a good place to start because you were part of, and I always say that it's a team effort of 800 people within the foundation, some of whom have left Dangote to head sustainability functions at leading listed entities, and others who, like yourself, have gone ahead to become CEOs of significant initiatives that have really become multifunctional, multi-company initiatives and driven very important mandates forward. And what I always say about the ISSB standards is that Nigeria was the first country to raise their hands and to say we are going the path of the ISSB standards. And I actually think, having worked with a number of Nigerian entities, and I won't list them now, that the reason why that is because in Nigeria, sustainability always had to make risk and opportunity sense. And so what the ISSB is really, it's the International Sustainability Standards Board that sits alongside the International Accounting Standards Board and seeks to include in general purpose financial statements sustainability related risks and opportunities that are made available at the same time, not as separate narratives, but that actually cover governance, strategy, risk management, metrics, and targets at the same time as investors are looking at financial statements. They're able to look at the sustainability-related risks and opportunities and have a better assessment and understanding of an entity's risk exposure, and on the other hand, also its opportunity and the way it manages those risks to create competitive advantage. What the ISSB tried to do, and I'm mindful that we don't have very much time, so I'm going to breeze through this, is try to make sure that these standards were comparable, but very importantly, that they were representative of all jurisdictions in the world, which is again why Nigeria's leadership position was so powerful, because the first movers obviously have more of a say and more of an influence of what these standards look like. Right now, there are two standards. There's IFRS S1, so for the accountants in the room, that's like IAS 1 and IAS 8. It's principles based. And there's IFRS S2, which is climate focused, climate related. And we've just ended board week in Frankfurt, and we are having deliberations at the moment on the nature related. So that is everything to do with water. But also one big conversation we're having is about the role of indigenous peoples and local communities, which, as we know, is one very strongly related to nature, but also a very material risk and opportunity in global south jurisdictions. In terms of global adoption momentum, we currently have 40 jurisdictions across the world who are at various stages of adopting the standards. 17 jurisdictions have finalized their approach to adoption and use, and 14 of these are targeting full adoption. And the others among those 40 are focusing initially on climate-related disclosures. We always said climate first, but not climate only. And we know that in Nigeria, for example, the social factor, which is partly covered by nature, we're also dealing with human capital standard setting at the time, is very material. And it's not just about climate. And of course, we also know about the climate-nature nexus, because a lot of the time, climate is actually at the root of some of the most manifested risks and opportunities. You asked a question about why this matters and what are the implications and costs of delay. Well, first of all, I want to commend the work of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria in terms of its leadership and also its big push on capacity building to ensure that we are really, even though we have a later mandatory date than other jurisdictions like Brazil and Turkey, that it's already mandatory, or some larger jurisdictions like Japan and China, which are also very important to trade and to investment in Nigeria, that are much faster in terms of their mandatory dates. What's happening in Nigeria is that there is a voluntary date. We have, and we will hear from the regulator now, 39 voluntary adopters already who are going through intense capacity building to ensure that compliance and, more importantly, the quality of information and disclosure is at a high level. Now, why is that important? Because right now we have a higher cost of capital because investors price uncertainty as risk. We have reduced access to long-term finance, and we have lower competitiveness because we're not necessarily disclosing comparable high-quality sustainability data. So really what this is for a country that is very rich in accountants and has a very strong accounting profession, and again, I must commend ICANN here, and I believe that they're in the room, and also the collaborative approach they've taken to working with other entities like ANAN or even the global entities like ACCA to ensure that our accounting profession is robust and that they work in collaboration with sustainability professionals to ensure that we have a win-win on both sides. So really, let me conclude by saying thank you so much to the sustainability professionals in Nigeria, because you are leading and, very importantly, bringing this conversation to the center of conversations around not just sustainability, but also around risk management, around strategy, around how financial statements are written. And you're really shaping the future, and most importantly, helping to create a more robust and deeper capital market where access to affordable capital, trade, and investment, which is so essential in terms of building our economy, is a central conversation among sustainability professionals who, as was the experience with Dangote, actually have the opportunity to be the anchor, the connector between the highest level of authority, the board, and the last mile, And one of my favorite sustainability champions, in Dangote, who's now the head of sustainability in a listed entity, really started as an engineer somewhere outside in the field and gained an interest in sustainability and just took this upon herself and really grew in her career, which was more to do with engineering than anything to do with sustainability. So I'm just encouraging everyone in the room. It's a great opportunity to learn. It's a great opportunity to grow. And it's really a great opportunity to start a cross-functional conversation within the organization that really is centered around sustainability, but also driven by the need to communicate more effectively with investors, with capital providers, with creditors, and really grow the information that is available, and therefore also the risk perception and the cost of capital for the entity that you represent. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Ndidi. That's some very insightful and enlightening session. And thank you so much for taking us a bit back to years when all of this started and your very pivotal role in ensuring that sustainability and now ISSB gets the audience that it deserves, especially in a place like Africa, West Africa, and of course, Nigeria. So we really appreciate all of those insightful words that you have shared with us, Dr. Ndidi. Do I see an applause coming in? Perfect. Now we're going to go to a critical component of the conversation today. And I believe that Dr. Razak is here with us. Yes? A message from the FRC. Do I get a response, please? I'd like to know.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir. Okay. Thank you, Dr.
Sir.
Right. I will need to do your introduction, and then we get into the conversation. Dr. Razak, and it's really good that we're going to hear from FRC right now, from your very distinguished self. You can agree with us that without effective stakeholder mobilization across all of the industries and sectors of the economy, ISSB adoption in Nigeria cannot be successfully achieved. What then is FRC doing to foster inclusive participation across all stakeholder groups? And while you're on this question, can you also share with us the efforts being made by the Council to ensure effective collaboration among the sustainability professionals, financial report preparers, and other professionals that support ISSB reporting? Dr. Razak, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. And permit me to say that to commend SPIN for this wonderful get-together webinar where we discuss interests of matters on sustainability. Come back to your question. When we before we adopted sustainability reporting and we declare our intention at COP27 in Egypt in 2021, we can say we have various sustainability reporting that has been described in the academics as a landscape of confusion, where they have different kind of sustainability and reporting guidelines, and it's a sort of confusion for investors, preparers, regulators, even the standard setters themselves. So by the time we came back, we knew that the best thing to do is to collaborate. And we did not just start implementation directly. We had to collaborate with the best hands in sustainability reporting in Nigeria, the regulators, the Big Four, the professional sustainability professionals that we have identified in the industry, and the academics and regulators to form what we call Adoption Resident Working Group, ARWG, for sustainability reporting in Nigeria. And that's the beginning of collaborations, because we believe that sustainability reporting is multi-dimensional phenomenon. and it has various aspects. So, and different professionals can best handle it better. So, what we did in ARWG was to put people together like Dr. Ndidi, who happened to come from ISSB, and others from different board member companies to come and have their say and expertise input in the roadmap that we have now, that we're implementing now. The roadmap that we have now is a product of collaborations from different angles. And as we speak now, we continue to deepen collaboration. If you look at what happened in 2024, we started with the generic training, which we call agnostic training, which is general training for all the industry, awareness training. And 2025, we focus on industry specific. We now go into industry specific. And we did this with collaboration with ISSB, FSDA, some of these big four, including EY and KPMG and PwC. We had a lot of collaboration so that we can look at sustainability from interest point of view. And that's what we have done. And the collaboration to us is not end of discussion. We continue to discuss the continued discussion by telling the stories with other professional bodies like ICANN, ANAN, ICSAN. And what we are doing this morning is part of the collaboration with a SPIN, Sustainability Professional in Nigeria, to further deepen the discourse into collaboration. So FRC, as far as we are concerned, is open to collaborations from different organizations as in the advancement of sustainability reporting. Our concern from our regulatory mandate is to ensure that we are doing it the right way and get it right at all time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that very insightful and remarkable insight from FRC. We all accept and agree that it's important for us to have perspectives from the very reporting council board that FRC is, as we delve more into this topic. And another section, we'll even want to ask you about the challenges that you've had to overcome in all of this journey. Now I'm going to move to a representative of the Sustainability Professionals Institute of Nigeria, Spain, Dr. Bekeme Masade-Olowola. And just before I ask a question, I'm going to read to us her profile. And Dr. Bekeme, good to have you here with us. Thank you so much. Do I get a response?
Thanks, Maurice. I wasn't trying to break a flow, so I just acknowledged it by nodding. Thank you.
All right.
Good morning, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I also wanted to test whether, in terms of audibility, we could hear you loud and clear. So thank you so much, Dr. Olowola, for being here with us. Now, Dr. Bekeme Masade-Olowola is a leading sustainability, ESG, and climate finance expert and the Chief Executive Officer of CSR in Action Group. She has led sustainability strategy, reporting, and policy development across sectors since 2011. And I can really confidently call her a veteran. I remember that way back in PwC, she had started, really driving efforts on sustainability in the energy sector. Dr. Bekeme produced Nigeria's first sustainability investment report, endorsed by the UNFCCC and supported by the UN Global Compact, and co-founded the Business Coalition for Sustainable Development in Nigeria. She is the executive producer of the award-winning Earth Women documentary and a member board of trustees of the Sustainability Professionals Institute of Nigeria, SPIN. She's also a director of Membership and Strategy Directorate at the Institute. Dr. Masade-Olowola, thank you so much for joining us today. And so in the next 7 minutes, you're going to help us to answer very pertinent questions with your experience that we hope to bank on today. In Nigeria's ISSB adoption journey, sustainability professionals and financial reporting professionals will have to work closely together, without doubt. Now, the question is, who does what? Now, in your own understanding that we want to really look up to and rely on today, what is the most critical action that each professional group must take? And what is the biggest challenge that we must overcome with collective efforts? Dr. Bekeme, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Maurice and everyone. let me stand on duly observed protocols, whilst particularly recognizing the L&D Directorate of SFIN for convening this dialogue at such a critical moment in Nigeria's sustainability journey. Nigeria has taken a bold and commendable step. For me personally, having worked in sustainability reporting and advisory for over 15 years, this moment is significant. Many of us spent years advocating for the adoption of recognized reporting standards across key institutions. To now see Nigeria formally adopt the ISSB Sustainability Disclosure Standards marks an important inflection point. By doing so, Nigeria has sent a clear signal to global markets that sustainability disclosure is no longer optional, peripheral, or primary. It's very embedded in our financial reporting structure. That clarity matters because it builds confidence, it reduces fragmentation, and it aligns Nigeria with the global movement towards consistent decision, useful sustainability information. So from a professional standpoint, the direction is right, the ambition is right, and the intent expressed is correct. However, standards alone do not deliver credibility. Systems do. And systems only work when roles are clearly understood and owned. That is the essence of the question before us today. Who does what? ISSB adoption is not an accounting exercise. It's not sustainability. It's not a regulatory exercise. It is a system transformation exercise. And as we know, system transformations succeed or fail based on how each professional understands the most critical action and takes ownership of it. For regulators, the most critical action is stewardship. In jurisdictions such as the USA and Canada, regulators set the baseline. They enforce discipline and they enable an ecosystem of professional judgment and institutional learning. The task is not really to replace the system, but to pull it together. Nigeria's opportunity is to pair regulatory clarity with purposeful collaboration across professions. For accountants and financial report preparers, the most critical action is integration without domination. ISSB sits within the financial reporting framework. Well, sustainability data, as we know, does not originate in finance. It comes from operations, risk, HR, environmental management, community engagement, and strategy. Where ISSB adoption works well, finance teams integrate, validate, and connect information rather than owning the sustainability narrative outright. For sustainability professionals, the most critical action is maturity. Very quickly, ISSB requires a shift beyond programming and storytelling into governance, risk, metrics, controls, and decision useful information. That is not a loss of relevance. It is an elevation of our profession. It demands fluency in business models, value chains, and board-level decision making. For boards and senior executives, the most critical action is ownership, not oversight, ownership. In leading jurisdictions, boards are trained, evaluated, and held accountable for sustainability-related financial risks, just as they are for audit and enterprise risk. ISSB does not sit below the board. It sits with the board. Without this, it's chaos. So for us assurance providers, the most critical action is proportional credibility. Nigeria's move towards ISAE-aligned assurance reflects global capital market expectations. However, in mature jurisdictions, ISAE complements rather than crowds out other credibility frameworks. As we know, different risks require different assurance tools, particularly around governance and transition planning, which brings me to the second question. What is the biggest challenge that we must overcome collectively? It's not data, it's not capacity, it's not even cost. The biggest challenge is false simplicity. ISSB is intentionally narrow, and rightly so. It was designed as a global baseline for investor-focused financial materiality. So this narrowness I consider a strength, as long as we do not mistake the baseline for the entire building. In other jurisdictions, ISSB sits alongside broader sustainability and impact disclosures. It does not replace them. Companies are not being asked to stop explaining their business models or stakeholder relationships, but to anchor those expectations in disciplined, decision-useful data. We in Nigeria must therefore resist the temptation as an emerging economy to reduce sustainability to a purely technical compliance exercise, particularly in one where social license, community trust, and development outcomes materially affect financial performance and risk. Let me close where I began. Nigeria has taken a bold step. The direction is right. The standards are credible. The momentum is very real, as we can see. Our task now is to distribute responsibility wisely, to build capacity deliberately, and to keep the system open enough to learn. That is how ISSB adoption becomes not just compliance driven, but credible. Okay, so thank you so much for having me, and over to you, Madam Moderator.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Dr. Bekeme, for very insightful contributions, what needs to be done and who does what. We really appreciate you bringing that angle of insight into this conversation. I'm going to call on Dr. Haruna Yahaya as we aspire to hear from ICANN. Dr. Yahaya, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. That we really appreciate you being here and hanging on while all of the other speakers speak. It's very important for us to hear from ICANN. And just before you speak, I'd like to also read your profile, the shortened version of your profile to the audience. I hope you don't mind, sir.
No problem.
Good. So Dr. Yahaya is here with us and is the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, and also the chairman of its governing council. Dr. Yahaya is a managing partner of Haruna Yahaya and Co., chartered accountant and tax practitioners with over 20 years of experience in finance, in auditing, and in taxation. He's a fellow of ICANN, of CITN, and of NIN. What combination? And now SPIN, we must immediately co-opt him. He has served in senior roles at PKF and Fidelity Bank. He has also contributed to national policies through the CBN Financial System Strategy and SEC SEC Compliance Committee. Dr. Yahaya, we really appreciate that you're here with us. Now, in the next 5 minutes, you're very welcome, sir. You're going to take us through the role of financial report preparers in ISSB adoption. And I know that you must have also, like every one of us here, had the opportunity to just reflect on the combination between, core sustainability and accounting itself at the root of it. This is an opportunity to give us your own insight as we prepare for the ISSB adoption. The adopters who are here would like you to take us through the role of financial report preparers in ISSB adoption, particularly in the Nigerian context and, of course, Africa as a whole. Dr. Yahaya, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and good morning, my distinguished audience. As we are all aware, sustainability reporting has come to stay in Nigeria, and we thank Dr. Ndidi and the FRC for driving the process to this extent. Similarly, as we are all aware, sustainability reporting is more than economic reporting, which the financial reporting is all about before now. So the other components of sustainability reporting that need to be included in the financial reports include environmental, which is the impact on the planet, social impact on people and communities, the governance, and that's how organization is managed or governed. So the role of financial preparers has significantly increased by this requirement of sustainability reporting. So the financial reporters, preparers, play a crucial role in the ISB adoption, particularly in Nigeria, where Financial Reporting Council has adopted IFRS S1 and IFRS S2 sustainability disclosure standard. To comply with the ISP standard, the preparers must conduct materiality assessments. This means identifying sustainability-related risks, opportunities that will impact the company's cash flow, and access to finance and cost of capital. Also, the preparers have to align reporting timelines. That is, ensure sustainability disclosure are published at the same time as the financial statement so that it will be a one package. Not that you have sustainability reporting separately and then the financial reporting separately, because the component of sustainability reporting consists of all these four pillars that I've just mentioned. Also, the financial reporters, preparers, have to disclose governance structure. That is, report on governance process for overseeing sustainability risk and opportunities, because the financial reporting have to go a little bit further to ensure that there's corporate governance on the sustainability reporting itself, because we know that greenwashing is there for some company to state what they have not done or try to make sure that they look good in the eyes of investors and public. But with governance structure, they should be able to ensure that the disclosure is accurate, timely, and complete. Also, the financial report preparers have to maintain data consistency, ensure that sustainability data is accurate, reliable, consistent with financial reporting, because they have to do what we call data integrity to ensure that whatever is published is has some element of integrity. Lastly, they must prepare for assurance, that is, implement internal control and documentation to support this sustainability disclosure. So the financial report preparers will make sure that they maintain the assurance that, okay, whatever is reported, just like they have to vouch and audit the financial transactions, they also have to vouch and give assurance on the sustainability disclosure. So ISB standard IFRS 1 and 2 provide a framework for companies to disclose sustainability-related information by focusing on climate-related risks and opportunities. And by adopting this standard, Nigerian companies can enhance transparency, improve investors' confidence, and contribute to sustainable development. On that note, I don't want to take much of your time. And also, I want to appeal to the organizers. Today is our council meeting. I just stepped out from the council chamber to attend to this very important program, because I know how important it is to be with you. And that's why when I was called initially, I said later, because I was there trying to open the meeting before I come out to attend to you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Yahaya, thank you so very much once again for your clearly esteemed presence and for the very insightful remarks that you bring to us despite your killing schedule from your everyday activities. And we recognize that you've had to hop in from out of another meeting. So we thank you for being with us and for sharing the perspectives from ICANN. Esteemed participants and guest speakers, will now hand over. I've done my part for today, and I'm very, very delighted that I had the opportunity to go through this section of today's webinar. But I'm not somebody who is even better than I am. It's going to take over, who is going to coordinate the more critical part of the webinar of today. My co-host, Dr. Akinkole Akiode, is going to take us through the second segment of today's webinar and also lead into the question and answer session. Dr. Akinade, it gives us delight to have you with us. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. Indeed, you really done what you know how to do best. And the session has really been interesting, having us hear from the giants in the industry. Thank you very much. Our esteemed guests and participants, we are now moving towards the critical part of what we have to do today. There are a few questions we would like to pose to our speakers. And the goal is that this is going to throw more light, better light on what we are really set out to achieve today, the adoption of ISSB in Nigeria. What needs to be done and who does what? I would like to first take on our real interesting ambassador as far as this is concerned, that is on the ISSB board representing Africa, the person of Dr. Ndidi Nnoli-Edozien. Dr. Ndidi, if you don't mind me throwing this question at you, we understand in Spain, and of course across Nigeria, that 36 countries have really adopted ISSB since it was officially launched in 2023. Why is ISSB really adopting this ISSB? What are the compliance issues involved, and what will you say is the strategic relevance of this new standards and the disclosure standard, especially as it relates to Nigeria? What will it do for? What new thing is it bringing to us?
Thank you so much. Thank you also, Morris, for kicking us off. Thank you, Ms. Akinade, for moderating this session. So I think, let me build on a comment that was made by the two previous speakers. I think Dr. Bekeme spoke about this being more than just compliance. It's really important that we move beyond compliance. And I think also the way that the regulator is leading this in Nigeria, driving capacity building and allowing for a window of voluntary adoption before we move into mandatory adoption, is allowing the room for that to happen. And the second thing I will draw from is obviously from Yahaya, our ICANN president, and he talked about the fact that this is not just compliance. This is rather about, capital, access to capital, and access to affordable capital or better priced capital. And so one of the things that the ISSB does specifically is really look at this from a strategic market enabling perspective. So definitely not from a box ticking perspective. It's really fundamentally about speaking the global language of capital and ensuring that you have comparable information that is disclosed as part of general purpose financial reporting and is made available at the same time as your financial statements, so that sustainability related disclosures identified as risks and opportunities and anchored in the 4 pillars of governance, strategy, risks and opportunities, and metrics and targets are made available to investors at the same time. It's no longer siloed. And when you think about it, sustainability related risks have financial effects. And the more that we can articulate the financial effects of these sustainability related risks and opportunities, the more likely it is to build a connection in the minds of investors and actually unlock capital, which is the blood flow or the necessary blood for organizations to thrive. You asked a question also in terms of the momentum. So literally, you talked about 36 countries. There are actually 40 jurisdictions, or in other terms, 57% of global GDP are moving towards adoption. So it's not a niche trend. it's actually a new architecture of mainstream financial reporting that now incorporates sustainability-related risks and opportunities as part of the disclosures. And what is really important for Nigeria, you asked me the question, why is this of strategic relevance to Nigeria? I think the first is in terms of capital. So not just the access to capital, but also the cost of capital. And essentially what economists call information asymmetry, this is when investors cannot understand or compare a company's risks due to fragmented reporting or different terminology or different information. The consequence is higher risk. So capital is either withheld or return requirements are significantly higher. And this has been the case in Nigeria for a long time, actually a lot of it in the global south. So that's really one of the main objectives, ensuring that additional transparency and comparability and conciseness, so not boiling the ocean, but really concise as part of general purpose financial statements, helps to build trust and therefore lowers the cost of capital and also attracts longer-term capital. I think the second, and three, and then I'll stop, is the passporting advantage. So this is where the strategic element meets the practicality of it. So the way the ISSB is designed as a global passport is so that it can be accepted across multiple jurisdictions. So in other words, this is the cost effectiveness of preparing your financial statements, your general purpose financial statements, which we already know on the accounting side, but now also on the sustainability side, so that you're preparing your statements once, but they can be accepted everywhere. So currently accepted in 57% of global GDP, which is also commensurate to where a lot of the capital is. And maybe the last thing to mention, then I'll stop, is just Nigeria's early declaration. Nigeria was the first in the world to declare at COP27 we're adopting these standards. So it is continuously a leader in this regard. FRC's roadmap from voluntary to mandatory by 2028 means that we have a longer period for companies to come on board. If you think about it, Brazil and Turkey, for instance, are already in the mandatory phase. Nigeria still has a way to go, so a longer way to get there. And then the last thing to mention is that as a result of that first mover advantage, the Jurisdictional Adoption Working Group, which the ISSB has just set up, Nigeria is a member of it. Nigeria also sits on the ITCG, which is where the digital taxonomy is being developed. We have a member on there. The Transition Implementation Group that has the amendments that actually instigated and inspired the amendments to IFRS S2, we have 2 Nigerians on the TIG, and we have Nigeria as the sole African country represented on the ISSB. So Nigeria is very much on the table and is leading.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ndidi, for that. And you're already getting into the next question that I have for the Financial Reporting Council, Mr. Abubakar. You can see that Dr. Ndidi already started telling us why this early adoption. I want to put it to the Financial Reporting Council, that's Mr. Razak Abubakar, right now. Then, what has been your experience so far, and what spurred this ongoing early review of the adoption of the roadmap? That are there major challenges that you have seen in the course of doing this, and what are the issues you would like to address at this time? Please, I'd like us to make it so brief so that we can take all the questions and so expand the knowledge of our participant as far as ISSB adoption in Nigeria is concerned. Over to you, Mr. Abubakar.
Okay, thank you very much. I can tell you categorically that we don't have, there's no major problem in the implementation of the ISSB roadmap. But I can tell you that there are challenges here and there, but leveraging on our experience from the adoption of IFRS 2010, we have learned a lot, and this is actually helping us in the implementation of sustainability in Nigeria. And when we look at what we have done in the past, even by setting up ARWG in the collaborative manner, so we are actually meeting those challenges and we are navigating them. And the reason why we are doing the amendment for roadmap, if you look at what happened between 2023 and now, a lot has happened in terms of sustainability reporting. We have had for 2 years consecutively the report of early adopters, the likes of MTN, Seplat, Access Bank, and Fidelity. As we speak now, they are on their 3rd year sustainability report consecutively. And between when we issued the roadmap and now, we have also had a lot of developments, even amendment of S2 by ISSB. And at FRC, we gather a lot of people to get input. So all those differences, all those changes is what we are updating in the new roadmap so that to bring it to reality. And there's no major review, it's just few amendments as per reporting and assurance. Recall that in the old roadmap, we did not earmark timeline for public sector entity because ISSB, the body responsible for public sector standard, as at that time, had not issued sustainability reporting for public sector entity. Now, the standard is ready now. So we are now amending our roadmap to signal to public sector when they ought to start sustainability reporting, just like private sector have done. And similarly, the ISA 5000, the assurance instrument to be used is going to be effective this year. So all these we are putting together, and we're calling experts to come and share the experience with us and talk about. So as far as we are concerned, we just have very few amendments to update the information from the last time we issued the roadmap to now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abubakar. That was fantastic. And we're grateful to you for that very concise response. I would like to move straight to my president, Mr. President, that's the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, that is Mr. Haruna Yahaya. Mr. Haruna Yahaya, thank you for, I mean, I know what it could mean to leave the council meeting. Thank you very much for that. Now, the mandatory adoption of the ISSB standards is set at 2028. I'm sure you are aware of that, which is barely 2 years. So it's 2026 now. 2028 is just by the corner. What plan does ICANN have in the immediate term to upskill its members towards helping business and institutions to develop ISSB compliance financial report? I mean, news gotten to me said that ICANN just started the Faculty of Sustainability, Business, and Business ESG. What are you planning to do as an institute? Over to you, Mr. Yahaya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akewade. Yes, as you rightly said, I can attach great importance to this sustainability reporting. And we don't want our members to be left behind and be restricted to only financial reporting, which is a component or pillar of the sustainability reporting. So to that extent, we created a specialized faculty of sustainability and business ESG so that our members can specialize in the sustainability reporting aspects of the implementation of ISSB. The immediate plan for the Institute is to produce professionals that will drive the process. And because it is going to be all-encompassing, whereby ICANN members will be sustainability professionals as well, not only limited to financial reporting. So because of that, we established this faculty and we equip our members with knowledge and tools to help them navigate these challenges. ICANN and its members are well positioned to play a significant role in supporting Nigeria's journey for the adoption towards adopting ISSB standards by ensuring that our professional lead in driving meaningful, sustainable business practices in Nigeria. So the role of the Institute is to ensure collaboration between sustainability report preparers, because it requires some element of specialization, for instance, environmental, climate experts. We will be able to collaborate with them and ensure that the financial statement carries all the components of sustainability reporting. So for that, we want to make it mandatory as part of our professional development education program for our members to pass through this faculty and ensure that we have full grip and knowledge of what is required of a professional that will be all-rounder and will be relevant. We're preparing accountants for future markets. So future market is sustainability reporting, and we don't want to be left alone. So that's why we have this faculty, and we ensure that the Institute is in the forefront, collaborating with FRC and other agencies and organizations to ensure that this adoption has been planned in the roadmap for Nigeria is achieved within a reasonable time, and our professional members are in the forefront of this sustainability reporting. So that's the essence of establishing this faculty. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. That's very nice, and we thank you for the front line you are taking too among the professional body. Establishing a faculty just for that, I must say that's fantastic. Allow me to move at this time to Dr. Bekeme Masade-Olowola. It's no news now that sustainability reporting has become the in thing, and Nigerians' early adoption shows how much importance that Nigeria attached to this. I want to put it to you, Ma, that as the foremost professional body of sustainability practice in Nigeria, what are you doing to upskill your members and to make us have enough practitioners that can actually render this service within our economic space? You hear ICANN president saying that the ICANN members will become sustainability practitioners too. Maybe this is a time to throw membership to them. Over to you, Dr. Masade.
Absolutely. This is a time to definitely market that to them. And, in my role as strategy and membership director of SPIN, I will definitely reach out to see how we can work that out. I'm going to keep my comments brief because, for the interest of time. And I would like to say that we're already performing our role by facilitating this wonderfully timely conversation between all relevant stakeholders. Having said that, SPIN's role is to be a bridge between standards and practice, okay? Practically, this means three things. Firstly, translating the ISSB requirements into sector-relevant guidance that sustainability and sustainability adjacent professionals can actually implement. Second is building capacity, structured capacity, not just generic ESG training, but ISSB specific skills around governance, risk, metrics, and internal controls. Thirdly, convening safe, credible spaces where regulators and all other stakeholders and boards can align interpretations early before inconsistencies become embedded. Our value is not regulation. As you know, it is aiding implementation credibility. So at SPIN, we remain strongly committed. We have access to head office through my dear sister, Dr. Nnoli, to our regulator, and to the leading financial association in Nigeria. So we're definitely primed for movement to support all professionals. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And I'm sure that the ICANN president heard what you said. Quickly, let me go now to Dr. Ndidi again, our sustainability champion on the board of ISSB. Now, Dr. Ndidi, all over the world, we have different disclosure framework standards, guidelines. I'm aware of GRI and some other disclosure standard. The reason is because we've had so much noise, different people reusing different standards to report this issue. Looking at the issue of interoperability, how can ISSB foster alignment with existing sustainability disclosure standards and framework? Do you envisage any future updates to the ISSB standards that will really foster this exchange? Dr. Ndidi, please.
That's such a powerful question, and thank you very much for asking it. I'll also try to be brief. So we were designed with interoperability in mind, and maybe it's worth making just a few quick points in that regard. First of all, the ISSB itself was created to kind of reduce what we've called the alphabet soup of frameworks. So when you think about it, TCFD, which used to be the Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, which was very broadly used, actually, the 4 pillars that you find in IFRS S1 and IFRS S2 come from TCFD. And after we launched the standards, TCFD was sunset and essentially handed over to the ISSB or the IFRS Foundation to sustain. Likewise, SASB, which are the industry-specific standards. So a lot of the time we're hearing the US is not looking at sustainability. Well, SASB was actually designed in the US, very investor-led and very industry-specific as the most efficient way of identifying sustainability-related risks and opportunities. SASB was wholly incorporated into the ISSB. A lot of you report or provide data to the CDP. The CDP actually has a licensing agreement with the IFRS Foundation, so its climate-related disclosures are directly connected to the ISSB's IFRS S2. Or you've also heard a lot about TNFD, which is the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures. Task Force, the TNFD, has said that they will stop every work that they're doing towards standard setting because the ISSB and the IFRS Foundation have taken over the TNFD body of knowledge in order to build on that standard setting. You know that one of the first people we signed an MOU with was GRI as early as March 2023. And that was in order to ensure that there's alignment. So really just 3 quick things. One, we are not reinventing the wheel. We're building on what already exists. Secondly, we operate something called the ISSB Plus. So there's the ISSB Core, which creates that global passport I was talking about. So the ISSB passporting so that jurisdictions can build on that. So for example, if you have a jurisdiction that was more interested in impact reporting, as opposed to just targeting investors for the purposes of deepening capital markets and ensuring that the information was available to reduce the cost of capital and ensure that an entity is managing its risks and providing disclosures at the same time as financial statements, so as accounting information, also the sustainability related risks and information to ensure that you're communicating effectively to investors. If you wanted to go beyond that and to have a broader stakeholder reporting mandate, which is often called impact reporting, you can easily do the ISSB Plus approach that adds on GRI or any of the other standards that you want to add. And that really is flexible for every jurisdiction. So from a Nigerian perspective, that is so strong from an accounting standpoint, which we're all very familiar with, and we all are aligned with the IFRS Foundation's accounting standards. There's a huge efficiency gain because you can now connect and build on not just the interoperability of this alphabet soup of standards, which all come together in the ISSB, but also the connectivity with your financial statements, creating a single source of truth that is able to attract and satisfy the needs of global investors in a verifiable, assured, and comparable way, but also local stakeholders that is dictated and led by the local jurisdiction. And in this instance, it's being led by the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, working obviously very closely with other entities like the SEC, ICANN, NGX, and others.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ndidi. Thank you very much for really going granular on that. Head of Sustainability Reporting at the Financial Reporting Council. I want to go to Mr. Abubakar at this time of the Financial Reporting Council, our major regulator on this webinar today. That you will agree with me, Mr. Abubakar, are you there with me?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. You will agree with me that without effective stakeholders mobilization of all the people concerned, the implementation of ISSB in Nigeria could be frustrated. Now I'm asking you, what effort is Financial Reporting Council doing to foster inclusive participation across stakeholders? And while you are answering this question, I want you to tell us the efforts you are making to pull together sustainability professionals, financial report preparers, and other professionals on the adoption of ISSB in Nigeria. Over to you, Mr. Abubakar.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kelly, for that question. And if you, just like I stated earlier on, that we started adoption and implementation plan by collaborations. If you look at the composition of members of Adoption Residence Working Group, it's a symbol of collaborations. It comprises of NGS, SEC, all the regulators are there, including professional accounting organization and other professional bodies, and some sustainability professionals, including members of SPIN that were part of ARWG member. We have a good number of them, not one, not two. They came from the organization, but they're also members of SPIN. So FRC believe in collaborations, and anyone who understands sustainability the way it is, the nature, you know that it is not one-man business. It is a multidisciplinary, multidimensional phenomenon. And the best way you can understand this is to actually open your mind and learn, relearn, and unlearn. You cannot be holding to whole things, and that's why if you look at that composition, we are very rich in the composition. Even Dr. Ndidi was part of the Adoption Residence Group. So from that, like I said, we didn't stop the collaboration. We continued the collaborations. Last year, we had the collaboration comprising of some Big Four firms, and we have collaborated with ICANN, ICSAN, Corporate Governance Initiative, Institute of Directors, all of them, because we believe that when we talk about ESG, it is not about one individual. So we want to continue to do that collaborations. And just like I said, this conversation we're having today is in furtherance of that the collaboration, to see that we can discuss sustainability together. And whenever we have a discussion, we have also engaged professionals. For example, last year, we engaged the members of professionals at their capacity to enable them to understand what's on and the role they are going to play, including some member of Spain. So this year too, we are going to continue our collaborations. But what I want to say is that FRC is open. Our doors are open for talks. If you have something like that, the ES, the Executive Secretary, Chief Officer of Financial Reporting of Nigeria, Dr. Rabiu Olowu, is open for any professional body that want to contribute meaningfully in the furtherance of sustainability reporting. So as we speak now, we continue our collaboration even in 2026 to further enhance that we are successful in the implementation. That's what we have done. And each time we're having discussion on sustainability, either we are exposing draft, we call public, including members of Spain, I repeat, and others, so that to participate. So what I want to, if we are drawing you to come and participate, don't say no. Always come and try to, be part of the system as well. Thank you very much.
You can be sure, just like Dr. Masade said, our hands are open. This is what we're looking forward to become established within our space in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mr. Razak, Head of Sustainability Reporting in Financial Reporting Council. Allow me to go back to the President and Chairman of Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Mr. Haruna Yahaya. Now, the ISSB standard is designed to provide investors, basically investors, with decision-useful information about how sustainability and climate-related risk and opportunity could impact the financial prospect of business. Now, Mr. Yahaya, how do you understand the role of ICANN and its members in ensuring this cross-functional collaboration among sustainability reporters and preparers, and in order to be able to support organization in getting this done? Is the president still on the call, please? We want to know how you understand the role that ICANN members ought to play in this. I need Backen to confirm to me that the president of ICANN is still here. While that is going on, allow me to quickly go back to Dr. Masade-Olowola. Dr. Masade-Olowola, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a decade earlier, several aspects of sustainability principles were perceived and treated by business and institution as a nice to have, something nice to have, or just leading practice. How is the Institute of Sustainability Professionals of Nigeria, and I'm talking, so that's what I'm referring to as the Institute. How is the Institute mobilizing or plan to mobilize sustainability professionals to rise up to the challenge of an increasing need for sustainability report preparers in the Nigerian economy? Dr. Masade.
Okay, so I would say that this regulated era requires more than technical compliance. It requires a shift in professional mindset and behavior. And sustainability professionals must be prepared to step out of our comfort zones and engage directly with finance, with risk, compliance, and internal functions as peers. At the same time, I'm thinking that regulation should not be interpreted as a license to re-centralize sustainability reporting within a single profession. I've been concerned just hearing a few times it being said, oh, we spoke to the Big Four, which is a good thing, right? Speaking to the Big Four, but I'm not even hearing of more local accountants, nor am I hearing about broader professionals. I've been working in this space for over 15 years. We literally at CSR in Action played a strong role in, bringing sustainability reporting to mainstreaming it within the Nigerian space. And, I'm not seeing that whole inclusion. And so I see SPIN using our leverage to mobilize practitioners to see sustainability not as programs or reporting artifacts, but as enterprise risk, as strategy and value creation that cuts across functions. I feel like that inclusion will help broader sustainability professionals see that critical role that they play. And I see the work that we do at SPIN, including the equipping of sustainability professionals to assert their technical relevance, governance role, and data ownership responsibly, whilst, of course, collaborating constructively across the different disciplines. Regulation should professionalize sustainability, not narrow it. If we are able to get that balance right, we will build capacity, we will build credibility and collective growth rather than competition between professions. And we're going to work assiduously hard at SPIN to try to manage that. Thank you.
What a professional perspective that you have given there, and showing that Spain is having this open path where all professionals should be allowed to become experts and build capacity in this space. Thank you very much, Dr. Masade-Olowola. Let me go to Dr. Ndidi once again from the ISSB board. Dr. Ndidi, as we have heard from this webinar so far, a lot of skill is required. Capacity development is required for report preparers. Now, tell us about the plan and initiative of the ISSB to support regulators, report preparers, and reporting institutions with the required capacity building and skill transfer. I mean, we will need this so much, the same way it happened during IFRS implementation. What is ISSB going to do for us?
That's a great question, and it's a question that Nigeria has been asking for a while. In fact, again, another area where Nigeria can take credit is, the IFRS Foundation actually put capacity building front and center of its radar, because when Nigeria raised its hand in 2022 and said we will adopt these standards, they also said we will need a lot of capacity building. And that put that on the radar of the ISSB. And so in terms of the capacity building that is available to, for example, jurisdictions, we have a regulatory implementation program. So actually, again, because Nigeria was first out the gate in terms of starting to develop its roadmap, which is also the reason why the ISSB accepted to sit on the Adoption Readiness Working Group. Dr. Razak has spoken about the important role that the Adoption Readiness Working Group plays in terms of bringing together various stakeholders in Nigeria, including various SPIN members who have also spoken here today, to ensure that what the FRCN is driving as its roadmap is one that is a consultative one. So not only did the ARWG develop the roadmap, they then put it out for consultation, and myself and the ISSB chair, Emmanuel Danon, flew into Nigeria for multi-stakeholder meetings. We met with the president, the vice president, and 5 ministers in Abuja in a single day. I will never forget that for the rest of my life. I don't think I ever thought that was possible. And then we flew into Lagos, where we met with the governor and we had meetings at the exchange, and were there to help launch the roadmap of Nigeria. Following that, again, ISSB building on and also inspired by Nigeria's leadership and the participatory role that we played, developed something called the Roadmap Development Tool that is now available, and which FRCN also drew on, because because I saw there was a question in the chat on assurance. I just started reading through those. There was a question about assurance and greenwashing. So the ISSB standards are designed to be assured. So you have sustainability related risks and opportunities and disclosures in the financial statements as part of general purpose financial reporting that is assured, just like your financial statements are audited. And that actually helps us move one step towards ensuring that you have more credible information. And so likewise, also, there are jurisdictional guides and profiles. Again, Nigeria is one of the first entities. In fact, if you listen to one of the ISSB presentations, you will see that the jurisdictional profile that is used as an example or best practice story is the one of Nigeria. There are also educational materials and resources that are available to preparers. So there's the Knowledge Hub, again, available for free on the IFRS website. There are the FSA credentials, where there is currently a significant discount for regulators. I think it's an 80% discount. And then for everybody else, there's a 30% discount in Nigeria. So please go ahead and do the FSA credentials. They're very useful. There's also an e-learning module that's available for free. But I will be amiss if I don't talk about how important it is that all of this training material, the educational material, the information that is available, all of our board meetings are publicly available. Our board papers are published a week, sometimes even 2 weeks before the board meetings. You can read them, you can review them, you can send me your input, you can listen to board meetings because they're all aired publicly. But all of this information needs to be brought down. We need to bring it down to our level. It needs to speak our own language as Nigerians, and it needs to adapt to the needs of our own jurisdictions, of our own capital markets, of our own investors, of our own trade and investment policies, of our own economic resilience objectives. And so FRCN has stepped into this very, very strongly. I know that also SPIN and ICANN are doing very important work in terms of making sure that that awareness is there. But just to give you the statistics that I have, and I think that FRCN is not blowing its own trumpet, to my knowledge, from what we've been tracking, there have been about 32 webinars and workshops, if not more. At least 1,800 participants from 168 entities have been educated by FRCN. And I can tell you also that we've developed a preparer readiness training so that on our side, we're actually packaging training materials that we can give to jurisdictions, or we can enable trainers to have that capacity directly from the ISSB, including teaching materials. And one of the few locations where that was piloted was last year in Nigeria. I came in with one of my fellow board members who's an Oxford professor, and Neil, who runs this program. So again, Nigeria was first and foremost at the table as the first place where this program was delivered. I think we had 200 people in the room, and it was hosted by SEC. The other thing that's very interesting is just in terms of even the roadmap, and your regulator that you have in the country is constantly listening to you. So you just did a new consultation on the roadmap that just ended, I think, a week ago, because there was a lot of pushback, for example, in terms of assurance, because the voluntary adopters would have started assurance earlier than those who started during the mandatory period. I think the market did push back, did raise a lot of those issues, and your regulator responded. So when there are these public consultations, please engage, please look at them, just like you also look at the board papers that we publish or read the standards, which themselves, with the basis for conclusions, are a means of building capacity and understanding what exactly these standards are about and where this shifts. I see that you're letting me speak for much longer and you haven't shown up, so I'm going to wind
Well,
myself down. I could carry
well,
on.
I don't want to interrupt you because each sentence you made actually churns out lot of information. And when people are getting value for the time they are spending here, you don't want to break that. You don't want to break that flow. So allow me to also say this just before I let you off the hook now. The capital, the needed capital inflow has been one of the major reasons why Nigeria early adopts. Can you say that we've been able to succeed in actually convincing investors that this is a go-to for their finance? Are there early wins? Have we started making that impact as a country? Dr. Ndidi.
So I liked one of the ministers that we met with when we were here in 2024 in March. She was then the Minister for Trade and Investment, and she's now the Minister of State. And I sent her a message yesterday just commending her because she had this meeting with Moody's. And yesterday also there was a post from Minister Wale Edun, who I must call out because honestly, we had a meeting with the president and the vice president within 30 minutes of each other. And I almost died because I didn't understand how I was going to navigate the villa and make sure that we didn't disappoint the president because the meeting with the vice president was taking longer. I would have died. And all my European colleagues didn't understand why I was sitting there like this. And Minister Edu came all the way from his office, joined us in the Vice President's office, sat through that meeting, and then walked with us over to the President's office so we could have that meeting. I could not have done that without him. And he, obviously, as you know, Nigeria is in Turkey at the moment, and Turkey's mandatory date for the adoption of the standards is January 2024. So if you think about it, even in terms of being able to drive trade, unlock investments, evaluate risk, and speak a common language of how you close transactions, the fact that both jurisdictions are looking at the ISSB standards and are looking at the question of, because you can't think about making any investment today without considering, think about it, whether you're in agriculture or you're in oil and gas, but let's stick with agriculture because that is the mainstay of our economy. We all need to eat. It employs so many people, and we all deal with agriculture every day, from just the commodities themselves all the way through processing and beyond, even manufacturing, or even feeds into things like fertilizer, which is now a huge plant in Nigeria. How do you do that without
Yeah.
climate? How do you do that without considering water scarcity or drought? How do you think about driving business without considering the water-related risks and opportunities and plan strategically for that? And how do you then, once you've done that, embed this into your financial statements and show how? So for example, at the moment when we're looking at nature, I am 100% convinced that how you deal with local communities who are very often custodians of the natural environment is a very important part of that nature discussion. And we have got a competitive edge in being able to manage that. Because if you manage your local communities effectively, then you are building a stronger workforce. You're building stronger work resilience. You're reducing operational disruptions. You're enabling your business to thrive and do better in the environment in which you operate. So actually, I saw something pop up in the chat about CSR being part of sustainability. It's just, if you think about it in a different language, what I always used to say then with the corporates that I worked with is there is no point in building a school in your local community if all you're going to count as CSR is the building. It's not the building. It's not how much money you spend on the building. It is how you facilitate the education of children that will become your future workforce. How do you build capacity, knowledge, so that people, even if they don't become your workforce, can develop enterprise, can grow businesses, can create wealth in the local communities? Why will you be a big enterprise operating in a rural area and import your food? Why aren't you buying from local people so that you're building the resilience of that economy and the communities around you, because they will then protect your factory? So when you think about it as CSR, what you're doing is you're counting how much money I donated to build a school that is useless if it's not educating kids that have a potential to build the future. So what you think about it, when you think about it in sustainability related risks and opportunities, and you phrase it and reframe it in that way, what you're doing is you're building a competitive advantage for your business and resilience in the economy and the communities around you.
Fantastic, fantastic, Dr. Ndidi. I could feel the passion. I could feel the energy from where I'm sitting down there. And you need to see I'm sure you see the emojis flying up, love, clapping. This is wonderful. And we're so grateful that you could spend this time with us. As I begin to wind down this session, please let the back office begin to look into the chat box so that we take some questions from the participants. Let me finally wrap up with Dr. Masade. You could see the technicalities involved in IFRS S1 and S2. The techniques involved in the reporting, adoption. I want to ask you, sustainability report preparers, how ready are we? Are we really prepared for this? Dr. Masade, are we prepared?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, it's a very important question. And it's a yes and no. I say that we are partially prepared, but not yet fully ready at scale. And that's a realistic assessment. It's not a criticism. I think that Nigeria has strong foundations. In the 15 years since we've been, driving sustainability reporting, I've seen experienced sustainability reporters. I've seen practitioners growing institutional attention and a more established history of sustainability reporting in many more sectors. However, the ISSB standards raise the bar in a very specific way. And, you're talking about the passion of Dr. Nnoli, and I was like, I've never seen anybody work as hard at something that they believe in, because without her passion, all of these mentions of adoption would not be what they are today. So, I just wanted to stop and give props to her for all of that work. And I think that it moves the profession from what many would call greenwashing and largely narrative and program-centered reporting into a discipline that must be decision useful and that must be control supported and tightly connected to governance, risk management, and financial reporting. I also like the fact that she mentioned the, I think it was ISSB plus she said, because, a lot of the question has been around impact reporting, about dual materiality and all of these impacts. And, the core focus locally I see has really been about the core, financial reporting, but I see the opportunity for practitioners to continue to do what they've been doing, but in a more technical manner. So the real question, in my opinion, is not whether we have practitioners, it's whether we have enough practitioners who can confidently operate in the 5 ISSB critical capability areas, or in 5 areas critical to ISSB adoption. Governance fluency. How many can engage boards and executives on oversight, accountability, and risk appetites, and not just initiatives confidently? Data and controls discipline. We have to have documented methodologies. We have to be able to trace evidence. We have to be able to look closely at internal controls and be sure that, any reporting that we're engaged in is audit ready with data trails. There's the risk and financial linkage as well. That is connecting sustainability risks and opportunities to business model impacts, to cash flow drivers, and to strategic resilience. There's also the scenario analysis capability, understanding what is required, how to frame those assumptions, and how to work with risk and finance teams without overcomplicating the exercise. It's been very much an approach of, philanthropy, CSR, and, there's a move away from that to show that, sustainability is strategic, and, risk must be clearly, checked out, and finance teams must be involved for an entity to see that it's pursuing sustainability embedment realistically. Now, then there's the assurance readiness, preparing information that can withstand external scrutiny and that does not collapse under verification. So at the moment, capabilities exist, but they are unevenly distributed. Some organizations that I've worked with have mature teams, many do not. And we must be honest that a common risk is treating sustainability units as an internal redeployment destination rather than a specialized function that requires training, that requires tools and sustained leadership backing. The fastest path to deliberate national capacity building, or is deliberate national capacity building, I would say. And that's what we're saying that we're doing at SPIN. And we have to have structured training pathways. We have to have practical clinics. We have to have mentorship. We have to have sector-specific guidance, and we have to have clearer career standards for sustainability professionals. I know personally that many organizations are struggling with recruiting the right sort of professionals to support them. And I feel like, or I know that there is that opportunity to prepare those already in the market, those who have a strong interest, to be able to support these organizations either as consultants or as staff within. Finally, I would say that readiness is not just a switch that we just turn off and on. It's a system, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, that Nigeria must build, and it will take a very coordinated, equitable, and fair action by employers, regulators, professional bodies, and practitioners, of course, guided by what we do at SPIN. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Bekeme Masade-Olowola, Director, Membership and Strategy, Sustainability Professional of Nigeria. We appreciate you for that robust answer and for participating in this Q&A session. Let me also extend my appreciation to the President and Chairman of Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria for your response to our question. Mr. Abubakar, representing Dr. Rabiu Olowu of the Financial Reporting Council, we appreciate you so much. And of course, our sustainability champion on the board of ISSB, Dr. Ndidi Nnoli-Edozien. We are grateful to you. Should there be anyone that still have a question, I'm going to just take two from the chat box. Please stay with me, our panelists. Should we have any? I'm just going to take one male, one female, and we'll be winding up this session. Do we have any at the back and back office? Please talk to me. One male,
there is one from me.
Oh, there's one from Dr.
Yes, one from.
All right, Dr. Eustace, go ahead. One from Dr.
Okay, go ahead, Eustace. Mr. Eustace, you have the floor.
Okay, yes, can you hear me?
Very well.
We can hear you, sir.
Can anyone hear me? Excellent. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for all our participants. Can you hear me, right?
We can hear you now, but you're cracking.
Very well.
Your network is glitching. Yes, kind of glitching.
Sorry about that. I'm not
We
in
can hear
my
you now.
office.
We can
I'm
hear you
actually
now.
at the center training. All right. Excellent.
Okay.
For Financial Reporting Council, sir, what additional efforts are you? Thank you so much for what you're doing so far to drive this initiative, to drive the adoption of the ISSB. But I was just wondering, is there anything additional that you can do to provide for clarity with regards to the professional bodies in terms of collaborations between the preparers of sustainability reports and the preparers of financial reports and assurers? And I ask this question basically because ICANN, as you have seen, is now establishing a training institute for sustainability practitioners, which is a good thing. To what extent are they going to cooperate with Spain, which is actually known to be the practitioners in this area? And to what extent do we have to, even at Spain ourselves, what sort of support are we going to get from them and from the risk practitioners as well as the regulators like yourselves? That is my question to Financial Reporting Council, and I have one more for ICANN. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eustace, for that. Let me take the second question. Mr. Abubakar, please be on the standby to respond to Eustace's question. Yes, the second question, a female down so that I could create some gender balance.
All right. Let me see. This is from Tayo Bello. I believe Tayo is a female. She said this is for FRC. How can an
Okay.
ESG professional who are not members of ICANN but are largely involved in IFRS sustainability reporting register with the FRC? This is following the requirements of the FRC in the adoption roadmap. How can ESG professionals who are not members of ICANN but are largely involved in IFRS sustainability reporting register with the FRC? This is following the requirements of the FRC in the adoption roadmap.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abubakar. You are on fire now. Both questions are for you. Go ahead, shoot.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Thank you very much for those questions. Let me start with the question number 2. Any professional engaging in the financial reporting process, either you are a lawyer, staff secretaries, sustainability officers, chartered accountants, you can register with Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, and you have a code for assurance for professionals. For example, if you are a lawyer, a barrister, or you have your firm and you do something, one thing or the other, to advance the financial reporting, or you are a valuer or actuary, you normally have a registration platform from FRC. You can register, you can have your FRC number with you. So if you are a sustainability professional, you are going to register with us. But for now, we have a number of professionals that are registering, not others too. So if you are a professional in sustainability reporting, and we either by way of working with a company or you render professional services, you can register with Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, so that when you render your services, you can put your numbers there. But of course, FRC has a requirement for registering you, so the doors are open. On the second question, on the issue of the collaboration with other professionals on how to navigate the reporting of sustainability in Nigeria, ICANN, sustainability professional, and the rest of them. From our viewpoint, sustainability reporting is a multidisciplinary, phenomenon, like we said, and now that is now becoming part and parcel and integral part of general financial reports. There's a lot of collaborations between the professionals. There are certain things that SPIN member would do and will be taken by the ICANN member. There's collaboration. It's the accountant that we recognize and measure the financial impact of these sustainability issue in their financials. So they need to work with professionals. For example, energy experts to calculate the emissions. Those who understand all these things. Is not just one person or anybody who tells you that is going to do everything. Does not understand the dimension of sustainability reporting, the dynamics it is. So it is multidisciplinary. Professionals are now welcome. Accountants, talking about from angle of a finance, SPIN members telling us the impacts, and trying to work with other professionals, including the procurement people, human capital. So what FRC is doing is to welcome all these professionals, to discuss, and our doors are open again in the interest of financial reporting. But lastly, I want to just say something about what Bekeme has said. I agree with Bekeme that sustainability reporting has gone beyond the CSR now. It has even gone beyond the philanthropic answer. It's now a requirement, and it's going to be part and parcel of sustainability reporting. But I disagree with her saying that the ISSB scope is very narrow. It's not narrow. ISSB is not narrow. If you look at what we are going to have to the market in the future, is going to be very, very versatile. We are ISSB just starting with just 2 standards, and now we have worked on several exposure drafts that are going to roll to the market. In the time, we are going to see ISSB having so many standards in different aspects and dimensions of sustainability reporting, be it environment, human capital, business innovation, and the rest, and business model of them. So we are going to see more and more of it. So we cannot judge that because we have just 2 standards. We conclude that ISSB is narrow, and ISSB faces investors, but it has other stakeholders' interests. By the time you look at their sustainability standard, human capital, business model, and the rest of them. And again, finally, I also believe that as an accountant and as somebody who has been in sustainability, standard actually deliver credibility. System alone does not, because if you leave system alone, it's not regulated. Standard guides and provide assurance. So that's why I disagree that that standard does not bring credibility. System does. System cannot assure itself. Somebody has to give standard rule, and somebody has to ensure that that standard is followed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Abubakar. The discussion continue after here. Thank you, Dr. Masade. Thank you, Dr. Ndidi. Thank you to the ICANN president. Just note that you can still go ahead and go over this again and again online, because we're going to put this online. Allow me to invite now the Vice Chairman of the Executive Council of the Sustainability Professional Institute of Nigeria, Mr. Eustace, for his closing remark. Once again, a very much respect to every one of you that are our speakers and panelists. Thank you very much. Mr. Eustace, the floor is yours.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. Thank you. That's been very fantastic one. Thank you to yourself. Thank you to Dr. Maurice Otoke for helping anchor this on behalf of the Learning and Development Directorate at Spain. And to our speakers, what can I say? What can I say? We have the best in Nigeria. Dr. Ndidi, you have driven this for a very long while now. You have made us proud at the global stage. You have supported us locally. You've given a lot of instances on very many occasions when you provided the support that we needed locally. We had an interaction, a lot of engagement with you for the past week or so, but that through the Secretariat or through Madam Eunice Sampson, my director. And I understand, I know very well that you had to cancel a few board meetings to be here today. In fact, I am very grateful. And on behalf of Spain, I say thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Right, ICANN president. I don't know whether ICANN president is still here for that controversial statement. The ICANN president, you have been very supportive as well. To the best of my knowledge, each time we invited the institute, you have always been the first to respond and respond positively. So we're very grateful to you. And as you have already indicated, the Financial Reporting Council also made it clear. We're going to be working together. We're going to be collaborating on a number of things. So thank you for your support. Thank you for making our time to be here despite the very busy engagements today. Thank you. And as you establish that Institute for Sustainability, please, I encourage you to involve the sustainability professionals so that we can get it right. It is for the interest of the nation. Right. Financial Reporting Council, my very good friend, Dr. Razak. It's been a wonderful one. Again, you're of a national treasure. You've done a lot to support sustainability reporting, to standardize it in the country. As you engage with stakeholders, I also encourage the Financial Reporting Council not to focus on only the big actors in the industry, to think of some of the smaller consulting firms that are making serious impacts, that may even have better expertise than some of those that are being involved. So get them involved in this journey. Sustainability is a journey, and we're all in it together. So thank you for coming around today. And our very own Bex, Dr. Bekeme, you represented us when we were looking for who would do this best without sounding too provocative. We chose you at the L&D department, despite that your time schedule is different from ours. So thank you so much for obliging. Thank you for representing Spain. Thank you for speaking out for Spain. And thank you for all you do as Spain in terms of directing the membership and strategic directorate. Thank you. Then the Secretariat as well. Ndidi and Taiwo, we've had sleepless nights. If you look at my eyes, I've not slept for maybe up to 2 or 3 hours since the past 48 hours, putting things together, and I'm sure you will look the same. So thank you so much for the efforts, and most importantly to our director, Eunice Sampson. Madam Eunice Sampson, I hope you're still here. So thank you for your leadership. And on behalf of Spain, I say thank you to all the participants for making our time. I hope it's been very, very beneficial to you. All we're talking about is national interest, ensuring that we get it right from the onset, and ensuring that what is happening in other jurisdictions is what implement it in this country, making sure that everyone is carried along. Stakeholder interest and engagement is very important. And on that note, I would say thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. I am Eustace Onyebu on behalf of Spain. Thank you.